Nelson.
Good gravy.
A radio host.
Found myself 2 million short of a millionaire.
Barely understandable.
Gee, Monetti.
We can rebuild him.
Guy's bright as a napkin.
We have the technology.
You gotta work with design, vision, and focus.
Better than he was before.
It's not lonely in my head.
Funnier.
I'm staring at a bowl of spaghetti trying to figure out which two ends come together.
More informative.
Characters defined by what you do once you screw up, not if you make mistakes along the way.
And just as sarcastic.
You sausage.
Oh, come on!
Give us 60 minutes and we'll give you Nelson Radio every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on KTLK AM 1150. With 29 years in the mortgage business and an array of top-level guests visiting the show, Nelson is in a unique position to bring you cutting-edge information on real estate, business, finance, and law. If you have any questions for Nelson or any of his guests, give him a call at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or check him out online at nelsonradio.com.
Nelson Radio.
KTLK, you're listening to Nelson Radio. I'm Nelson, and I'm here again with our special guest host, Mike Fell. How you doing, Mike?
Oh, Rob, I'm doing great. Hey, I got to ask you, or I got to tell you about a cute little kid story. I mean, that sounds weird, but can I tell you a cute little family story
Coming
here?
from you, it's weird. Yeah, go ahead.
So I've got 4 kids, as you know, 21, 17, 8, and 6. So my wife's birthday was yesterday. By the way, happy birthday, sweetheart.
Oh, jeez.
But my 8-year-old at school at recess gets all the kids together and has them each draw a birthday card for my wife. So last night, she gets about a dozen birthday cards from all the kids in my kids' class, second grade class.
There you have it.
Is that special?
That is special.
I mean,
was she touched?
She about broke down. It made all the presents that I gave her worthless. You understand
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
But no, it was one of the cutest things ever.
You should learn by now that you're not buying your wife negligees and things. So what are you thinking?
Good point.
Yeah, exactly.
As soon as she gains her eyesight again, I'm out. We all know that.
Well, welcome back. We're going to have a very, very insightful show today. We're going to start off with our market analyst, Stephen Thomas, who's from reportsonhousing.com. He's going to look at the investment trends and what's taking place in the real estate market and specifically why you should list your home. And then in segment 2, we've got the guru back in studio. Phil Immel, the real estate guru, is going to take a look at some of the trends and if we've got momentum in this marketplace.
Hey, this guy's a stud, Rob. This guy has been on about every TV station. He knows his stuff. Let me tell you this. He knows his stuff.
He does know his stuff. And then in segment 3, we were going to go into the multifamily market with Brian Horner, the CEO of Alco Capital, help us understand what's happening in the multifamily industry. Segment 4, tackling the headlines, just understanding what's going on in the marketplace with today's news. And then rounding out the famed Stump the Expert segment.
Oh, yeah.
Before we end the show.
You cannot stump these experts.
I'm thinking.
I don't know who these experts are, but I will tell you this. You will not be able to stump them.
There you have it. So with Street Noise, our opening segment, brought to you by Insurance Inc., providing a full line of insurance, saving up to 40% of premiums. Anytime during the show, listeners, I want you to call Nelson Radio Direct at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136.
And Rob, I will challenge anyone out there that has a cuter son or daughter story to call and let us know what that story is.
That was a riveting story. No, that's good. Yeah, well, your storytelling meets insomnia. That was fantastic. I appreciate you sharing. So we have Stephen Thomas from reportsonhousing.com, and there was an article that was published about the 5 reasons that you need to list your property now. We thought we'd shotgun these reasons at you, Stephen, and have you provide a little bit of infill. So the obvious, number 1, the demand is high from the home buyer.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a ton of demand right now for housing. Matter of fact, there's a lot more demand than even being shown in the sold statistics right now. There are buyers in every agent's pockets ready to purchase right now today, but they can't. There's a real problem out there, and it's called lack of inventory.
Well, that brings us to number 2, which we talked about last week a little bit. Tell us about the supply is low problem.
Yeah, supply is really low. Supply is inching up a little bit in Southern California, but it's such a slight increase. It's like sticking a quarter of a cup of gasoline in an empty gas tank. It's definitely not going to get you very far.
Kind of like Mike's personality, huh?
Number
3.
I saw that one coming
I know.
so far away.
He set me up for that. New construction is coming back. Is the home builder business coming back?
Yep, they're building, they're grading, and come summer this year, spring, summer, we're going to start to see the sticks forming, and there'll be lines out there because there's just absolutely nothing on the market. So it's going to be like a lottery system as far as there's going to be tremendous demand and not enough product. And it's really not going to help things much because they can't build fast enough for the amount of demand that's out there.
And this is going back to a time when there were long lines. They did have lotteries. They had campouts for homes. Is that environment really going to creep back into the marketplace?
Well, we're already seeing it. When we stick a home on the market that is priced right and it's below $1 million, even above $1 million if it's priced right, we're getting so many people showing these properties. It is like as if you can go ahead and have a ticket counter at the front of the property, and it's a revolving door. Everybody's coming through to see it. So the same thing's going to happen with new home product.
Interesting. KTLK, you're with Nelson Radio. You can reach us at any time at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or you can text the word Nelson to 313131. I want to remind the listeners that Street Noise is presented to you by Insurance Incorporated, providing a full line of insurance. If you have insurance needs, I've worked with them, Mike. They are saving people premiums, and they're doing a fantastic job.
Give
Great
them a call.
customer service.
Give them a call.
888-888-2136.
Let me go back with some of the concerns we have about the market. And one of the biggest concerns is the interest rates. You see them going up?
By the end of the year, I see them going up slightly. I mean, they're really down there right now. They're at 3.5%, but they've already started to inch up a little bit, and that's because there's some European healing that's going on out there. They're pulling their money out of bonds and moving them into European bonds.
Let's just blame it on the French, shall we? Let's blame it on them.
Let's see if that holds true for the long run, but it's happening right now. But I think that as the economy improves, we're going to see a bump in interest rates. We're going to hit 4%, but the difference between 3.5% and 4% is money out of everybody's pocket if they don't buy today.
Is it going to be, I mean, in terms of, okay, higher interest rates aren't better for the economy, but we're all talking about unbelievable interest rates. Later in the show when we have Phil Immel on, we got into the marketplace when interest rates through the early 80s were in the high teens, and now talking about a bump in interest rates from 3.5% to 4%. Who cares, right?
Yeah, but that's just the beginning. As the economy improves, which is going to take a little bit of time to improve, but as it does improve and consumer confidence continues to ramp up, we're going to see interest rates really start to rise and pop up. But at 6.5%, that still is a good interest rate. It's funny what we get used to. We're used to these historically low interest rates, and they're unrealistically historically low.
Does that have anything to do with the timelines? Timelines getting shorter?
Timelines are shorter across the board. One of the things with timelines is you can expect not everything's a short sale anymore. So you can there's a lot more equity sellers out there. These timelines are starting to shorten, as well as lenders have the processes down so that they can close these short sales. Not everything closes, but there aren't that many as many short sales out. And when they have equity in their home, they're able to close tomorrow, next week. We don't have to wait on a lender to close these things. A lot of these are all cash buyers are coming in. We're able to close these things, and they're closing.
Well, and another segment is going to be taken out of the market. Obviously, the industry is experiencing lender delays, but from a refinance standpoint, as interest rates go up, there's going to be less refinance activity. And so the real estate agent community is going to be able to perform with appraisal contingency periods in a week and financing contingencies in 17 days because there's not that additional traffic in the marketplace. I think that's interesting insight. If you're looking to sell your home, get in the market.
Absolutely. It sounds like it's the time with the rates, unexpected, what the heck they're going to do. We got some good experts that come on the show, and I'm sure calls to them will help out any potential buyers and or sellers.
We've been with Stephen Thomas from reportsonhousing.com. This segment brought to you by Insurance Incorporated. You can connect with us in 3 different ways. Give us a shout at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or you can text my name, Nelson, to 313131, or jump on the internet to nelsonradio.com. We'll be right back with Phil Immel, the real estate guru.
He's the man.
Everyone loves a good mystery, but that's hardly the case when you're in a real estate transaction. With Title365.com, the mystery behind title insurance and escrow services has been kicked to the curb. You gain instant access to status and downloadable documents. Want customized real-time order information and documents as they happen 24/7, 365? No problem. And for the first time, Title 365 is bringing together leading professionals working on your real estate transaction, so the process is even more transparent and efficient thanks to up-to-the-minute communication. You can even retrieve contact information for leading professionals offering real estate and home-related services right in your own community and learn more about title insurance all in one convenient place. Be sure to ask your local realtor, lender, or escrow officer about Title 365 or visit Title365.com. Mystery solved.
The Nelson Show is brought to you by Best Chauffeured. Best Chauffeured offers personal chauffeur services for corporate events, large and small, and all types of people, not just celebrities. So next time you just want to relax and enjoy the ride, please call on Best Chauffeured Worldwide. It's effortless transportation and first-class service every time. Call 866-323-BEST. That's 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com. Mention KTLK's Nelson Show and receive a special discount. 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com.
Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Unlike agencies that represent one carrier and can only provide one quote, Insurance Incorporated has appointments with the nation's leading insurance carriers, giving you the power of choice. This means more options and savings for you, offering coverage that's both comprehensive and affordable. Their policies for apartments include protection against loss or rents, accusation of wrongful eviction and wrongful entry, vandalism, theft, and slip and fall claims. Show your value as a property manager by being proactive, saving your clients' money and protecting their assets. They can even assist your tenants with renter's insurance. And homeowners, they can save you up to 40% on premiums, including often overlooked liability coverage. Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Call 877-428-8778. That's 877-428-8778 and enjoy better coverage at lower costs. That's Insurance Incorporated, 877-428-8778 or log on to insuranceinc.com.
DOI license 0235301.
Welcome back. You're listening to KTLK Nelson Radio, where we break down business, finance, real estate law. We're diving in deep on all of these topics.
We're breaking it down like we're construction workers here, you know?
So in this next segment, we've got Phil Immel, the real estate guru. And obviously, Phil, you've been on a number of different mediums, TV and podcasts and radio and...
You know, listen to his voice. His voice sounds like he's a guru. His voice is almost like the Darth Vader low voice, like he knows what the heck he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
You got to listen. Before we hear his voice, this segment brought to you by Title 365. If you want to hear more of Phil's voice, call us direct. 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or text the word Nelson to 313131. Phil, welcome to the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
See, I told you, didn't I?
That's right. If you don't know what you're talking about, talk slow and low.
So we want to shotgun some questions to you as well. And these are things that I wonder as we move into 2013, looking at not just the real estate market, but the business market as well. And specifically, is our marketplace, is our economy stable, or are we at risk?
Well, I think the economy for real estate in particular is stabilized this past year, definitely. And I think we're over the hump, but there's still a long way to go. And gradually we're growing out of it. And it's a good, healthy thing for a number of businesses that relate to real estate transactional business.
Now, Phil, you are a guru in this area. And I'm telling you why I know that. Because I watched something on YouTube on this Chapman report that you do.
Yes.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit about how the force is with you during this Chapman report?
Okay. A number of years ago, I was invited to do the real estate segment for the Chapman University annual report, and then they do a semi-annual update. And what we do is sit on the campus of Chapman University in Orange, and they interview me about the real estate market with a lot of the stats that have come out recently and ask my opinion of what is accurate, what isn't, what the future trend lines are going to be that I think are going to happen.
Very informative stuff, and I think our viewers can find that just by Googling the Chapman Report. Is that correct?
They could do that, or they go to realestateguru.com, my website, and it should be linked to that.
So during that interview, the S&P Case-Shiller Index was raised, and it reported a 1.2% national appreciation in real estate. But the question I had for you was coming out of the Phoenix market specifically as an example, 22% appreciation. Coming out of the Las Vegas market, I think it was at 14%. And the concern there, is there another bubble forming? Do we have a bubble within a bubble in terms of the market not being able to keep pace with this kind of appreciation?
It's a great question. We get that every day out in the marketplace. Are we going to go back to another big bubble starting like we did 10 years ago? And I think as Stephen Thomas said, these numbers are big, but in my business, I don't think you should look at 1 month trends. You should look at annualized trends in real estate because it may be up 22%, but it could be, a different number. And I think what's really happening in Southern California and a lot of the United States is higher priced homes are selling. So the median prices are going up. It doesn't necessarily reflect it at all price points. So you have to be careful about that.
You're listening to Nelson Radio. I'm Nelson. I'm with my co-host, Mike Fell, voted one of Orange County's top 5 most influential criminal defense lawyers. I think that's
Is that why we're here?
That's a huge ranking. I don't know. I just wanted to reference that.
What's that clinking sound?
I haven't been with top 5 anything.
And thank goodness my mother was the only voter. I want to know who those other 4 guys are. That's all I have to say.
This segment brought to you by Title 365, bringing real estate transaction status to you live. You can reach us at 888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Phil, we had in 2012 a large number of entry-level buyers or first-time home buyers. But my impression in working with a lot of different financial statements is that the bell curve, the middle of the group, is still a little bit concerned about buying up. I mean, there's still cliffs everywhere we turn. There's job concerns. Are the move-up buyers going to actually step in and create another surge?
I think they're trying to. The consumer confidence is healthier now than I've seen in 6 years in the Southern California market, but they're still skittish. And of course, they're still worried about job losses or a spouse might lose a job or whatever. Most of that's passed. But what the next situation is, it's becoming a catch-22. Inventory, in my guru opinion, will be pretty low this year. I don't think we'll usually get more listings in spring and summer. And I think we're going to see a slight increase, but I don't think we're going to get a lot of inventory. Plus all the REO and distress sales, short sales, have really come off the top of the bell curve and going down. So I wouldn't expect much inventory. So now what's happening is the consumer is saying, I would like to buy that bigger home. My family's growing, et cetera. But if I put my house on the market now, it might sell too fast and I may not find the right home for myself. So that's the trend we're seeing.
And as far as interest rates, Stephen Thomas from reportsonhousing.com suggested, Mike, that rates may begin to migrate upwards and not a huge spike up, but still moving out of the 3s and into the 4s. My personal opinion is that doesn't have any impact on the marketplace. And when you translate that, a 3.5% interest rate on an average mortgage and moving to 4%, okay, there's a $17 hike in payment. That's not going to make or break somebody's finances.
Well, plus it's tax deductible. So after taxes, what is it? $10?
Well, and let me ask you this. When we're talking about the interest rates, there's also a legal side of things that I want to ask you about. Unfortunately, we see a lot of divorces out there. We see a lot of couples splitting up, and they've got a big piece of real estate. What are some of the advantages, disadvantages of finding that perfect broker that knows about the whole family laws that deals with the sale and purchase of homes? I know this is kind of one of your areas of specialty, and I wanted to kind of focus on that for a second.
Right. I deal with a lot of divorce attorneys, and they like to refer to credible agents that are qualified to handle the business. They don't give it to the sister-in-law who's got a license or somebody like that. So what they tend to do, usually the husband has one agent, the other one, the other spouse would have somebody else they want, get into a little bit of battle. The attorneys negotiate it. Ultimately, a judge might step in and appoint the most qualified agent to represent that home. You really have to go with the price point of the home that matches the realtor. If you're selling a $3 million home, you should have a realtor that's used to selling $3 million homes.
In that luxury segment.
Yeah, and if it's a $500,000 house, you could have somebody pretty much many levels, but you want to make sure you've got good experience on the agent side to mesh personality-wise with all the stress the family's going through.
And on the new home building side, do you see an uptick there? There was one article that I was going to reference out of Irvine. I think the Register reported that TriPoint, a real estate residential developer, went public this past month and was the first residential builder to go public since 2004. Is that a signal that the home building market is back?
I think it's a strong signal. And as some of the other reports we've heard already, new home inventory now they can't put them up fast enough. I think the Irvine company in Orange County was definitely ahead of the game. They were building and building, because the market shifted overnight this past year. Starting about summer, it went from darkness to total brilliance in terms of activity in the market. So There is a shortage of resales, shortage of new homes, but the new home builders should do quite well in the next 5 years.
Great insight from the guru, and he's optimistic, Mike, so I think that sends a signal that we should be as well.
That is great, and my favorite part of the whole interview was at the end, Phil did not say to me in a low voice that he is actually my real father.
Thanks. You got to stay with us for our next segment. We've got Brian Horner, the CEO of Alcol Capital, bringing us insights on the multifamily market. This segment of Nelson Real Estate Radio brought to you by Title 365. You can reach us direct at 888-888-2136. That's 888-2136. Or text the word Nelson to 313131. We'll be right back.
The Nelson Show is brought to you by Best Chauffeured. Best Chauffeured offers personal chauffeur services for corporate events, large and small, and all types of people, not just celebrities. So next time you just want to relax and enjoy the ride, please call on Best Chauffeured Worldwide. It's effortless transportation and first-class service every time. Call 866-323-BEST. That's 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com. Mention KTLK's Nelson Show and receive a special discount. 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com.
Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Unlike agencies that represent one carrier and can only provide one quote, Insurance Incorporated has appointments with the nation's leading insurance carriers, giving you the power of choice. This means more options and savings for you, offering coverage that's both comprehensive and affordable. Their policies for apartments include protection against loss or rents, accusation of wrongful eviction and wrongful entry, vandalism, theft, and slip and fall claims. Show your value as a property manager by being proactive, saving your clients money and protecting their assets. They can even assist your tenants with renter's insurance. And homeowners, they can save you up to 40% on premiums, including often overlooked liability coverage. Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Call 877-428-8778. That's 877-428-8778 and enjoy better coverage at lower costs. That's Insurance Incorporated, 877-428-8778 or log on to insuranceinc.com.
DOI license 0235301.
Nelson is a licensed lender under the California Department of Corporations and MLS 331060.
This is Nelson from Nelson Real Estate Radio, and it's important to understand the swath of damage caused by the mortgage meltdown. Obviously, there was poor lending practices leading into, but now there's poor customer service coming out of. Bottom line, getting a new loan can be like pulling teeth without Novocaine. I've got the solution. Envoy Mortgage and my team are injecting into the industry real performance and real accountability. Here are the facts. Appraisals in less than a week. Rate guarantees that can go down if the market improves. Purchase closings in as little as 2 weeks. Refinance transactions in as little as 30 days. And close-on-time guarantees. Who would have thunk? Guaranteed rates and guaranteed performance from a mortgage lender. Accountability from your lender. Call me, Nelson, an accountable loan expert, direct at 888-888-2136. That's Nelson at 888-888-2136, 888-888-2136, or on the web at strongcreditrewards.com.
Everyone loves a good mystery, but that's hardly the case when you're in a real estate transaction. With Title365.com, the mystery behind title insurance and escrow services has been kicked to the curb. You gain instant access to status and downloadable documents. Want customized real-time order information and documents as they happen 24/7, 365? No problem. And for the first time, Title 365 is bringing together leading professionals working on your real estate transaction, so the process is even more transparent and efficient thanks to up-to-the-minute communication. You can even retrieve contact information for leading professionals offering real estate and home-related services right in your own community and learn more about title insurance all in one convenient place. Be sure to ask your local realtor, lender, or escrow officer about Title 365 or visit Title365.com. Mystery solved.
This is Nelson from Nelson Real Estate Radio, and I want to have a very serious conversation. Let me paint the word picture. The drinks were innocent enough, just relaxing with friends. Really, I felt fine. Then the rearview mirror lights up with the blue and red. The arrest, cuffed, and in jail. Really? Me? All too frequent, we wish in the somehow, someway category for a do-over, a mulligan to make a different decision. Let me introduce Orange County to the law office of Micheal L. Fell. Nearly 2 decades serving in the Orange County District Attorney's Office is a prosecutor, now fighting for your rights in criminal defense. Recognized as one of Orange County's top 5 criminal defense attorneys, ready to represent you against his former colleagues. Save the embarrassment, the potential conviction and record, the possible loss of job. Call Mike Fell direct for your legal mulligan, a chance to make it right. 949-585-9055. That's 949-585-9055, or text the letters OCDUI to 313131 for the law office of Michael L. Fell. Welcome back to Nelson Real Estate Radio. I'm with my guest host, Mike Fell, accomplished, that's how I'm describing you now, accomplished criminal defense attorney. This segment brought to you by Best Chauffeured, worry-free and on-time limousine transportation services worldwide. If you need a limo, text the word limo to 313131. And with comments, questions, clarifying questions on this show, call Mike or I. You can reach us direct, 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. I've got the founding principal here with us in studio, Mike, Brian Horner from Alcohol Capital, and an expert in the multifamily space, the apartment. Yep. From the lending side, from the management side, from the ownership side as well, and
he's going to give us some good info that we need to know when we're either a apartment owner or renting apartments, things like that. And I might say, for the record, too, another guest with a much lower voice than mine.
Well, that doesn't really take that much.
I guess I got to lay off the helium before the show.
Yeah, either that or go through puberty. So, Brian, let me ask you. We've been talking in the first 2 segments of our show about the trends in real estate, and specifically the residential side, the single-family side predominantly. In the multifamily space, is that following the single-family trend, or is it in front of? Which direction are you going?
Well, Rob, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. I think by and large, the apartment business is following the single-family business, probably not driven by the same set of circumstances, but there is a definite supply and demand imbalance. There are a lot more buyers of apartment buildings in the market today than there are apartment buildings for sale. And there's a number of factors that have led to that. I think some people have been spooked by the stock market and losses that have taken place there. And so they're interested in buying a piece of real estate and owning an apartment building. And, people do have neighbors that have had tremendous success with that type of investment strategy. So we see a lot of capital chasing apartment buildings. And you guys have talked on your show about low interest rates, and low interest rates have an impact on people's ability to own apartments. And we're saying
Brian,
the same thing.
Hey, Brian, can anyone own it or invest in an apartment? Or, for instance, do I have to wait for Nelson to die and hopefully leave me his $100 million estate?
Well, you're going to be in line. You're going to be in line behind me. So, listen. Anybody can own an apartment building. I mean, an apartment owner got started somewhere, and it really is a fantastic investment vehicle. We've been financing apartment owners for over 25 years, and the people that I have the good fortune to assist with their apartment financing, the success stories are just incredible. It's doctors and dentists and lawyers, very few lawyers, but because they spend all their money on expensive cars and homes is what we see. But anyways, listen, anybody can own an apartment building. You obviously need the money to buy it. It's no different than buying a home. You've got to have the down payment. Some of the lenders today want to know that there's going to be some experienced property manager standing behind it. So a lender may, in fact, require you to bring a third-party property manager along with you so that they'll be comfortable that you can handle the property management side of owning an apartment building.
If you are even thinking about getting into apartment purchasing, wouldn't you agree that having that property manager is almost a must?
Well, for the first-time buyer, that's for sure. And we find that a lot of people who buy one, they'll end up buying another, and it just becomes an overall investment strategy. And people have found a lot of success in owning apartments. So there needs to be a critical mass. We've seen there needs to be somewhat of a critical mass in order for people to self-manage. So having a third-party property manager involved can really take care of a lot of the headaches in owning apartments, which is what people tend to shy away from.
So let me ask you this question on rents. We certainly see both out of LA County and Orange County, rents have been escalating. And, from the consumer standpoint, they're going, gosh, it's going up every time I have to renew. It's going up significantly. Are there caps on that, or is it just pure market driven?
Well, there are rent control laws. You hear about, the city of Santa Monica, which has a fairly restrictive rent control provision whereby rents cannot be increased dramatically. West Hollywood has that. The city of LA has rent control, but Orange County, there is no rent control, so it is purely a function of supply and demand. Rents can rise as high as people are willing to pay, and for that matter, it's a consideration when you're making the investment decision on buying an apartment building. If your income is capped, you need to make sure that you've taken that into account when you're making the decision to buy an apartment building.
You're with Nelson Radio. This segment brought to you by Best Chauffeured, worry-free, and on-time limousine transportation services worldwide. We're with Brian Horner from Alcol Capital, looking at the apartment industry and multifamily investments. If you need a limo, which you will probably need a limo ride home.
Oh, absolutely.
Text the word limo to 313131 or contact us direct at 888-888-2136.
And you know what's cool, Rob? Even if I'm late, they're still on time. Huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to follow that. That's good. That'll make for dead air. 888-888-2136. So on the property management side, that brings up a whole host of different issues that you wrestle with. One of them, obviously, and this was a question that we talked about on the way up, but in terms of, I assumed that from a maintenance standpoint, you have increasing costs on maintenance. You have tenants that are doing less and less to maintain properties as they're going through their own financial hardship. Is that an issue or is it not?
The issue in apartment ownership where you really make or break the investment is on the maintenance side. The three big expenses in owning an apartment building are, of course, your mortgage, your property taxes, and then the maintenance. And so the upkeep of the apartments is really a big number. And if you have high rents, you charge high rents, you're a little bit above market, you're going to get a greater turnover of tenants in that building. And when tenants leave, it's expensive to put them in a condition, to put them back rent ready. And that's a big expense. And
new carpet, new paint,
new linoleum, a lot of repairs, and those are big numbers. And so you really have to find that delicate balance between being competitive in the marketplace with your rent levels, so that your tenants are happy, giving them the service that they expect, and keeping them there. And the average cost to turn over an apartment is probably $2,000 to $3,000. So to get it ready for that next tenant to come in. So it can add up quickly if you're turning apartments over.
Brian, Mike is itching to ask this question because it's about litigation.
And it's about lawsuits. God bless them. And Rob is going to be summoned with a lot after this show. But anyways, as far as lawsuits being on the rise, how is that going to affect somebody that wants to get into this apartment buying business? What should they be aware of when they're making that decision?
Well, from the finance side, we see a lot of owners owning their apartment buildings in entities whereby they are afforded additional protection. And, that's your area of expertise. So we see owners buying apartment buildings in limited liability companies or corporations or limited partnerships whereby there's some additional layers of protection that are there.
But at the end of the day, are you spending half your time in deposition? Or
No, you're really not. With most apartment owners, if they own apartments, they're going to deal with tenant issues, and tenant issues, there are evictions. And when there's an eviction, you're going to need an attorney who's going to handle that for you. So, You do want the protection on the ownership side, but you will spend some time trying to get rid of a tenant that's not paying the rent.
Everyone hates an attorney till they need one, right, Brian?
Oh, jeez, here we go. I'm with guest host Mike Fell and expert contributor Brian Horner looking at the multifamily market. And I think we barely touched on some of the topics, but we'll have you back up and dive a little bit deeper.
That was great info. Great info, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
This segment brought to you by Best Chauffeured, Worry-Free, and On-Time Limousine Transportation Services. If you have more questions on multifamily, Mike Fell's legal advice, give us a call. 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or text the word Nelson to 313131.
And whoever wants to sue Robert Nelson, I am right here at your service.
We'll be right back.
Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Unlike agencies that represent one carrier and can only provide one quote, Insurance Incorporated has appointments with the nation's leading insurance carriers, giving you the power of choice. This means more options and savings for you, offering coverage that's both comprehensive and affordable. Their policies for apartments include protection against loss or rents, accusation of wrongful eviction and wrongful entry, vandalism, theft, and slip and fall claims. Show your value as a property manager by being proactive, saving your clients' money and protecting their assets. They can even assist your tenants with renter's insurance. And homeowners, they can save you up to 40% on premiums, including often overlooked liability coverage. Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Call 877-428-8778. That's 877-428-8778 and enjoy better coverage at lower cost. That's Insurance Incorporated, 877-428-8778, or log on to insuranceinc.com.
DOI license number 0235301.
Everyone loves a good mystery, but that's hardly the case when you're in a real estate transaction. With Title365.com, the mystery behind title insurance and escrow services has been kicked to the curb. You gain instant access to status and downloadable documents. Want customized real-time order information and documents as they happen 24/7, 365? No problem. And for the first time, Title365 is bringing together leading professionals working on your real estate transaction, so the process is even more transparent and efficient thanks to up-to-the-minute communication. You can even retrieve contact information for leading professionals offering real estate and home-related services right in your own community and learn more about title insurance all in one convenient place. Be sure to ask your local realtor, lender, or escrow officer about Title365 or visit Title365.com. Mystery solved.
Welcome back. You're listening to Nelson Radio on KTLK AM 1150. Anytime during our show, people can reach us direct. Mike at 888-888-2136 or by texting Nelson to 313131 or just jumping on nelsonradio.com. This segment brought to you by Title365, and we've got our favorite.
One of my favorite coaches of all time.
Heading to the Coach's Corner with Coach Jim Herrick. Coach, are you with us?
I'm with you. I'm with you, guys. I'm with you.
All right.
Love it.
Hey, I got to ask you, you spend a career on inspiring people to perform at a higher level and then also looking to be inspired. Can you comment on what you do to inspire people and what inspires you, Coach?
Well, Robbie, I think that any good leader has to motivate his troops, whether you're in the office and you have people working for you or you have a team to coach or even I think your family is the same thing. You want to keep them, today's the first day of the rest of your life. Forget the past and start thinking about the future. I want you to answer this question here. People, you walk around, people say, "Hey, how you doing?" And you only have 1 to 5 words you can answer. You're either good, great, terrific, fantastic, or sensational. And I keep throwing these things at people all the time. At least the guys that played for me, and then even people that work for you. I had a staff of 6 or 8, and I wanted to motivate them every day. I wanted them to be excited about coming to work and be excited about life and be excited about everything. And for me personally, I just thank the Lord every day for what you have and not what you do not have. And that all comes from an attitude that you project. I want you to have a great attitude. I want you to be undying enthusiasm. I want you to have great pride and great poise and great be positive about everything. And that's the way I am. That's how I motivate myself and inspire myself every day. And I want to pass that on to everybody else, because if you're a good leader, you're going to motivate people all the time.
See, that's great, Coach. It's Mike Fell here. How you doing?
Hey, good, Mike. How are you?
Good. Hey, I want to ask you a question, but I want to make a comment first. So my wife listens to the show last week. She listens to the full hour, and I say to her afterwards, I say, hey, what'd you think of the show? And she says, I loved it. I go, what was your favorite part? She says, the advice that Coach Herrick gave. I said, hey, were you even listening to me? She goes, oh, I listen to you, but I like Coach Herrick. So your advice is well taken at the Fell household.
Well, good. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
Well, let me ask you a question from the world of law and my colleagues. Now, there are lawyers out there, not myself, but they will lose a case every once in a while. And they lose that case, and you get so personally involved in your case that sometimes you lose and you just want to quit the business. Give me some tips for my lawyers who are not as successful as I am, and what you should tell them when they lose a case.
Well, you want to start with humility, don't you, Coach?
The thing most of all, and it's the same as you're talking about recruiting to me, and my advice to them is you don't get emotionally or personally involved in the case. You know, it's a business, and if you win, fine. You know, recruits will tell you, and today's a national signing date in football. And I'm reading this paper, this guy committed, this guy decommitted, this guy, you know, and that drives coaches crazy. But you can't get emotionally involved with young people, and lawyers can't get emotionally involved in the case. You know, it's either they win or lose, and you move on to the next one, because you're not going to win them all.
As always,
only Perry Mason could win them all.
Yeah, not Perry Fell. Coach, thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks, Coach.
All right, fellas. Great talking to you.
Great talking to you.
So we're here. I brought Phil Immel back on, the real estate guru, and you know, we're all looking to be inspired.
Right.
And I think from a leadership standpoint, it's hard because, like anybody, you have days off or days down, and you want to prop yourself up. And I think he just has the right attitude in terms of looking at what's right. And it becomes, you know, that old adage, if you buy a red car, all you see is red cars on the freeway. If you're looking for what's right and what's good, that's what you see popping up all over the.
Well, and not to let, you know, in your line of work, not to let the interest rates ruin your day or make your day. In my business, not, you know, losing that client or getting the victory or not getting the victory. You can't let that dictate who you are or what you do. You need to persevere. You need to dig down, and you need to figure out what your own personal work ethic is and how you want to get on with life from having a devastating day, if you will.
There you have it. Let's get on with life. I brought the guru back on because I wanted Phil to talk to us a little bit about some of the headlines this week. If you have questions, you can reach us at 888-888-2136. That's 888-2136, or go to nelsonradio.com. Let me ask you a question, Phil. This headline came up out of the Wall Street Journal, and it kind of actually gave me a start. It said, there's the return of 100% financing. Now, if that comes back, are we back in trouble again?
I think so. I'm sure there'd be some major conditions. They're having a hard time with 90% or 80% financing. So, you know, I think you got to drill deeper into what does that really mean. But if that does happen, but they're 800 plus FICO scores, gainfully employed properly, you know, there are people that can afford to take that financial risk, and you as the lender can let us all know.
As opposed to 100% financing for somebody that's cutting hair on weekends, as an example.
Yeah, the guy that's doing your pool is probably not the candidate for that loan.
Makes sense.
And the guy that's cutting your hair, Nelson, he's out of business. He's got to be.
It's because I'm losing it. The show's doing it to me. All right, so out of the LA Times, San Bernardino, I don't know if you noticed this, but there was in San Bernardino and also in Sacramento, there was a pursuit that they were going to buy some distressed mortgages and then go to the homeowners and come up with a plan to cure so that they can preserve neighborhoods and make it right, essentially, after they've got in over their heads financially. San Bernardino has opted out of that. I'm not quite certain if Sacramento is continuing with that, but should the government step in this way?
Well, it's been a good debate across the United States, actually, but you know, to take when the REOs were at the heaviest point and there was a lot of vacant units, blighted neighborhoods are not good for anybody or for resaleability. But to me, the last move you should make is the government. Didn't San Bernardino go bankrupt, by the way? So why would you, if you don't know how to run your own county, why would you then decide to be a real estate owner and take care of blighted? The theory's great. The reality, not so much.
And what about the foreclosures out there? Are they assisting buyers? They assisting sellers? How are we looking at the foreclosures and the amount that we're having these days?
Well, the foreclosure REO business, as we call it, real estate owned, the acronym they use inside the industry, has subsided dramatically. And Stephen probably has those numbers, but they're off 60 to 80% in terms of number of REO listings compared to a year ago. We had one we actually listed yesterday in San Juan Capistrano for $850. We've already got one full price offer on it and more coming in. So there's huge demand for it. It's a perception that every REO is a good deal. That isn't always true to the consumer. So you should really drill down on that.
Makes sense.
Good info.
Phil Immel, the real estate guru, thanks for being with us. While you're driving, stay with us. Mike Fell and I are going to be back with Stump the Expert, answering some very tough questions brought to us by you, the listener. This segment focusing on this week's headlines and Coach Herrick, brought to you by Title 365. If you want to contact us, 3 easy ways to connect. Give us a shout, 888-888-2136. Or text my name, Nelson, to 313131, or jump on the web at nelsonradio.com.
And
we'll be right back.
Get those questions coming.
This is Nelson from Nelson Real Estate Radio, and I want to have a very serious conversation. Let me paint the word picture. The drinks were innocent enough, just relaxing with friends. Really, I felt fine. Then the rearview mirror lights up with the blue and red. The arrest, cuffed, and in jail. Really? Me? All too frequent, we wish in the somehow, someway category for a do-over, a mulligan to make a different decision. Let me introduce Orange County to the law office of Micheal L. Fell. Nearly 2 decades serving in the Orange County District Attorney's Office as a prosecutor, now fighting for your rights in criminal defense. Recognized as one of Orange County's top 5 criminal defense attorneys, ready to represent you against his former colleagues. Save the embarrassment, the potential conviction and record, the possible loss of job. Call Mike Fell direct for your legal mulligan, a chance to make it right. 949-585-9055. That's 949-585-9055, or text the letters OCDUI to 313131 for the law office of Micheal L. Fell.
The Nelson Show is brought to you by Best Chauffeured. Best Chauffeured offers personal chauffeur services for corporate events, large and small, and all types of people, not just celebrities. So next time you just want to relax and enjoy the ride, please call on Best Chauffeured Worldwide. It's effortless transportation and first-class service every time. Call 866-323-BEST. That's 866-323-BEST, or online at bestchauffeured.com. Mention KTLK's Nelson Show and receive a special discount. 866-323-BEST, or online at bestchauffeured.com.
KTLK, you're back with Nelson Radio. I'm Nelson, and I'm with my guest host, Mike Fell.
When you say you're back, you're assuming that they stayed on this channel,
No,
right?
they did stay on the
right.
channel. And we are moving into the Stump the Experts segment of our show, presented by Envoy Mortgage, providing our exclusive, get this, exclusive close-on-time guarantees. Finally, accountability from a lender. Have you heard anything? Have you heard of that before?
You got to go with Envoy.
You got to go with Envoy. You can reach us at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. So here's some questions that came up. And this one, I didn't even know if this, what you do with this. It says, I'm a realtor and was hosting an open house. Someone posing as a buyer came into the home, and I caught them stealing something. What do I do? Especially if they're an actual buyer.
Well, first of all, Rob, you got to stop putting things in your pocket when you're looking to buy homes.
Yeah,
that's number one, Nelson.
Well, easy Christmas shopping.
And we joke about this, but these are the type of cases that I see. This is what I'm in court representing. And the thing of it is this: if you are the realtor and you're noticing that that's going on, you have potential liability if you don't do something. All right. So what you're really going to want to do, obviously, if it's a safe situation, you want to just very pleasantly contact the person and say, I think you may have accidentally picked something up. And then if they give it back, then again, you've kind of solved the situation. But really what you want to do in that situation is you want to contact the police. I know it's a tough thing to do, especially when you think you're going to close a big deal. But the bottom line is, if they've done it this time, they've probably done it again. They're probably not going to be your buyer. They probably do this quite a bit, posing as a buyer and stealing merchandise. You got to get the police involved.
Okay, so let's take it a little bit more of an innocent stance. Family comes in, little girl's moseying around in the master bedroom. She picks up a Rolex watch, walks out of the house with it. She's not a criminal. Do you have to call the police for something like that?
Well, I mean, it depends when you say she's not a criminal. Are we talking about a little 5-year-old kid, or are we talking about a 17-year-old girl? I mean, there's a big difference.
Let's split the difference. Call it a 12-year-old girl.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. I mean, obviously what you want to do is you're going to want to contact the parents. You're going to want to approach them. You're going to say, hey, listen, again, in a very innocent way, I think that your child may have accidentally picked up something.
This Rolex watch.
Rolex watch. Thinking that maybe it's a goodie bag that I give all my customers who come through. No, but you want to do that, because the bottom line is this. That seller comes back to their home. They say to you, hey, Mr. Nelson, I know you were showing my house today. Where's my $25,000 Rolex, which was upstairs? Oh, I saw a little kid take it, but I didn't want to approach him. Who's going to be on the hook for replacing that? Right. I mean, there's a good chance that you're going to be on the hook. In addition to that, there's a good chance you're going to be reported to the real estate board, and you're looking at possibly your license getting tagged.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Check this out. In Pasadena, they had this situation come up, and this is something that's prevalent throughout the Southland, probably throughout the country, with the appraisal community that's chasing the trend upward in values. And so this specific situation, we're in escrow on a $1.1 million purchase in Pasadena. Our lender requested an appraisal. Appraiser comes in from Rancho Cucamonga, doesn't know the marketplace, establishes a value of $950,000. We can't find another home in the neighborhood for less than 1.2. What are we supposed to do? And I think I was talking to Phil about this, Mike, earlier, the real estate guru, that the appraisal community is chasing. There's an inherent problem where appraisers are looking at point of sale backwards at sales that have closed, and home buyers and the real estate professionals are looking at the marketplace from point of sale forward, and the two don't reconcile.
Right. There's a problem there. There's a problem. See, my first instinct would be sue them.
Yeah, right. Litigate. Exactly. You've been listening to the Stump the Expert segment with Mike Fell, presented by Envoy Mortgage, providing close-on-time guarantees with questions. We want you to submit these. We'll tackle them, whether they come from the business, finance, real estate, or law side.
No matter how dumb they are.
No matter how dumb they are. Call us at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or text my name, Nelson, to 313131. And I want to shift gears as we close out the show here to our sponsored orphanage that we want to draw attention to. This is Treasures of Africa down in Moshi, Tanzania, that currently is housing 50 kids and bringing them up. Most of these children have lost their parents to HIV/AIDS and really some very, very graphic situations. But one thing that's unique about Treasures of Africa, Mike, is that they're raising these kids to become community leaders in whichever discipline, but to make a difference back in their community, not just a charity group that's providing food and water and clothing. They're trying to raise leaders. And this is something, Mike, that Tate has seen, little man Tate Nelson, who's on the air with us, in his trips down to Tanzania and spending time in the orphanages. And there's one little girl that I want you to tell us about that is looking for a sponsor.
How's it going, Dad? So what I was doing some research is there's 2 million orphans in Tanzania alone, and in that section in Moshi, Tanzania, has the highest rate of AIDS in that country. And Tanzania is a pretty high rating of AIDS in that whole continent. So with that, Justina, her mom had died and her father was diagnosed with HIV and couldn't actually take care of her children. And so Justina is a child of 3. And she is a 4-year-old daughter, and she is being raised currently in the Treasures of Africa orphanage, and she's doing great. So,
hey, Tate, sometimes we just take it for granted here living in the U.S. We've got good families, good parents, and we sleep under a nice roof. When the donations are going to these kids, how do you see the kids react?
The kids react with such joy because they're not only getting money that comes towards food and schooling, which is very important to them. They love schooling. But it also goes towards the community and setting up things to come for the kids.
What a neat experience for you to be able to see that, especially at your age, Tate. That's great.
You'll see a picture of Justina. We'll put it up on our website, on nelsonradio.com. But she is absolutely stunning. The brightest smile. She loves to laugh. She loves to watch musicals.
And listen to our program, I believe, too.
Yeah, I'm certain. And she sings and dances, sings in both English and Swahili. Bright little girl.
Who doesn't?
Exactly. So little Justina is looking for a sponsor. And as well, I want to make certain that we call out for one of you. And certainly, if you've had the kind of successes that we see so often, looking at everybody's financial statements in the mortgage industry, if one of you can step up with a $2 million pledge, this is going to enable the founder of Treasures of Africa to develop a new parcel of land, a 5-acre parcel that will house 126
or
orphans.
any pledge, Nelson, any pledge. I mean, it doesn't
I want the
have to be. Well, you want the $2 million. I'm saying there is no donation too small to help these kids out.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Check it out, treasuresofafrica.org, or go to nelsonradio.com, and you'll see little precious Justina's picture. I want to thank our expert contributor, Phil Immel, the real estate guru, and Mike Fell from the law offices of Michael L. Fell down in Orange County.
Wow, that has a good ring to it, Nelson.
Does. I also appreciate Stephen Thomas from reportsonhousing.com, our apartment expert, Brian Horner, the principal and founder of Owl Cole Capital, and special thanks to our producer, Phil Giangron. Thanks for listening to Nelson Radio, providing design, vision, and focus to look at business, finance, real estate, and legal questions. Contact us in 3 different ways. You can give us a call at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or text Nelson to 313131, or jump on the web to nelsonradio.com. We look forward to being with you next week.